This RSBANDB Update Nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update 735, the Blockbuster Bank Beta. Enjoy. All right, here's the big one.
Begging.
The big one, the big important one.
Big one.
So, who is on the Skilling Council, and can their function be introduced one day? That question is from yours truly.
Ooh, nice job.
Thank you. We needed to get this one out, especially after last week, I think.
I think so. Well, I mean, I love it. I think I prompted Shane into, like, damn it, I'm going to find out. I'm going to know.
And if it didn't get answered here, I would have taken other steps to get that answer too. So, but anyways, the answer from Mod Timbo on this one, their function is similar to the Combat Council in that they are a collection of top skiller-focused JMods who have the skiller's best intentions at heart, and they discuss changes to the game in relation to skilling. They talked about the player-owned farm nerf and what form it should take. They were also involved in the skilling aspect of Anachronia. Some of the mods on this team, of course, include Mod Timbo, which is excellent, Mod Sova, Mod Aerator, Mod Tomb. Mod Tomb worked on the mining and smithing rework, so that's nice. Mod Mylea, and they had one other they couldn't remember the name of, so they just called them Mod Weapon Diversity.
Okay. I looked these people up because this was, this is important.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, I couldn't figure out how. I mean, I don't know what their RS names are, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they are at skilling or this or that. Doesn't really matter. Because I'm glad to find out we actually have one, because we've heard that, but they would never, and they never put them forward. The fact that they were involved in the farming nerf kind of makes me a little bit worried about how. I mean, I don't know. That worries me a little bit. But
it makes actually total sense to me, and here's why. Because when you're approaching this from the perspective that you have all the data beforehand, and you're trying to fix a problem, you start with what is most absolutely definitely going to fix the problem. But this is, and anybody who's, looked at modern leadership methodologies knows something called pacing and leading. And what this news post did last week, and I think we're going to see it having this effect when the next farming post comes out, because not everybody watches the live streams, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what the first news post did is it effectively paced the community to effect. And Jagex met them on this with this live stream, and they're going to meet them on it with the next dev blog about the player-owned farm nerf. The players were primed to expect a major nerf to the player-owned farm with this last blog. Okay? But if they pull back in the next blog that comes out, and it's not nearly as bad, it's something that is both acceptable to Jagex and it's better for the players. Jagex have effectively, in this case, pulled off the player-owned farm nerf successfully, if they can meet the players at a point where it's acceptable to both. And,
yeah, I mean, that just depends. I mean, the devil's in the details on that.
Right, and, with the Skilling Council being involved in that and having all the details behind it, you would rather them being making that choice than someone else.
Well, yes. But I want to draw people's attention to this a little bit. So we just now found out who these people are, right?
Sure.
Okay. I want to talk about what makes the Combat Council so effective. Number one, they are very proficient at combat, right? Makes sense, right? They are good. They are really good. They can all do the top tier bosses in this game. They know what they're talking about. On top of that, people communicate with them on Twitter, right? And they're communicating back and forth.
And that's why I wanted to highlight this, is because I wanted to bring these people forward. So for anybody who is concerned about this like we are, we can reach out to these people.
Right. And so that's yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like, one, I would love to know, like, how, you know, how good at scaling they really are. But beside the point, at least we know who they are, and at least we can, you know, talk to them and advocate for ourselves. Now, I don't know how you're going to feel about this. I'm guessing you're not going to like it, but I want to throw it out there anyway. Okay, Shane?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I think could tie up years of just back and forth, just stuff that we could fix with this one thing. Okay. Remember how we did like the labs where players were writing in? Yeah, I know, but you remember how they wanted that kind of interaction back and forth a little bit?
Yeah.
And we're doing the polling now and this and that.
Yeah.
All right. Do you know how in like Germany they actually have like a worker on the board who is a worker?
Right.
What if, and this would work with all the councils that they have, because they have one for lore, they have one for combat, they have one for skilling. So all of those, what if there was one player representative signed to an NDA? No, signed to an NDA, just like anyone that would be player tested. And they're one vote out of 5, but at least you know that perspective would be represented, and that they were being represented. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea in theory. I think where it falls down, though, is that I'm going to use an analogy. It's like someone important trying to flush a toilet without everyone noticing. If they did this, that person's name would eventually come out.
Well, yeah, we could vote on them if we wanted, on who we wanted to send there, who our elective representative would be. But this is like democracy.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's more like it's kind of like it's democracy in a republic kind of model.
Yeah,
like we're sending
it's
our
almost like
representative.
It's like having a vote on the board, basically.
Essentially, yeah. But I'm saying, you know, like NDA them, do all that stuff. Don't let it leak or whatever. We just know that we would have representation that way for sure.